Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Azure NetApp File Share training. So in this video, we look at what is Azure NetApp File Share. Azure NetApp File Share is a fully managed file service provided by Microsoft Azure. It's done with collaboration with NetApp. Is a leading storage and file share data management company. It offers high performance enterprise grade file shares in the cloud. It's designed for organizations that require a very reliable, scalable file storage for their applications and workloads. Here are some of the key features as you can see on the screen. Number one, performance. Azure NetApp Files delivers high performance file storage. High performance in the sense you get to demand a wide range of demanding workloads such as the databases, virtual machines, analytics, machine learning and so on. It provides low latency, high throughput, enabling faster access to data. Number two, enterprise grade features. Service includes enterprise grade features such as it can take snapshots, data replication, clones and so on. So example, if in case you want to protect your data, you can take snapshots at a particular point of time, weekly snapshots, so that you can restore from the backup whenever needed. Number three, scalability. It provides highly scalable, high performance scalable, capacity scaling options according to our needs. If there is a need for more storage, we need additional storage, easily you can increase the capacity. If you want additional performance compute, you can increase the performance as well. Number four, integration. Azure NetApp Files integrates with all or several Azure services, for example Azure virtual machines, Kubernetes clusters, Azure batch, etc. It also integrates with Azure Active Directory for access control. Multi-protocol support. Number five, it supports multi-protocol. For example, it supports NFS version 3 and version 4.1. Also supports SMB, server message block. These are the two protocols for the file systems. Point number six, security. It provides secure service. Provides security features includes encryption, role-based access control, and an Azure private link to connect to the particular file system. It provides Azure private link connectivity. Point number seven, managed services. Microsoft Azure NetApp File Share is a fully managed service, which means Microsoft takes care of the entire underlying architecture. It takes care of the hardware, takes care of the software updates. Everything is taken care by Azure, Microsoft. So it easily allows you to focus on your application. You can focus on your application and data, so without needing to take care of hardware upgrade or software updates and so on. Now we are going to look at how Azure NetApp File works, how it is implemented. Number one, provisioning. You first create a Azure NetApp File account. Number one, you start by creating a Azure NetApp File account. Then you create the volume and then the capacity pool. The capacity pool is created. Under that we have the volumes. So point number two is the capacity pool. So your capacity pool is nothing but it's a container. For example, you can set a capacity size. For example, 5 terabytes or 10 terabytes. So you select the create a capacity pool, number one, and under that underlying you have create the volumes. Volume, for example, you will create a volume for every file share. For example, for profile repository, one volume. Finance team, HR team, every team will have a volume. Number 3 is the performance tiers. Performance tiers, there are 2 performance tiers, standard and premium. So when you go for premium, you get a good higher performance, low latency, and it is suitable for latency sensitive applications. But when you go for standard tier, it's a little cost effective, less expensive, but the performance will be less. Point number 4, networking. So you create Azure NetApp files are accessible within your Azure virtual network. So when you create this Azure NetApp file account, and when you create that capacity pool, you will have the option to create a VNet, virtual network. You create a virtual network, and then under that you will have the file shares. So the file shares, you can connect directly to your virtual machines and other Azure services, and this will allow you to make sure the connectivity is secure and low latency. Next is data replication and production. Azure NetApp File Share has data production features such as automatic backups, data replication, snapshots, and so on. So you can take a snapshot on a weekly basis, restore from the backup if required. You can also do data recovery, cloning, etc. etc. Point number 6, mounting. So once you created the Azure NetApp file volume, you can mount it on your Azure virtual machines. So once that volume is created, you create a file path, for example inc romi dd993.jddelos.com. then you have a path for profile repository, the mounting path. You can then connect that path to a virtual machine, or you can connect it to other Azure services like Kubernetes cluster, so on. Performance. You can use increase the performance performance by using the quality of service settings. It allows you to allocate specific amount of IOPS, input output operations per second. Point number 8, scaling. Adjusting the capacity and performance of your volumes. Increase in case if you want to accommodate more storage, additional compute. Immediately it allows you to change the, based on your demand, you can increase the capacity without downtime. Point number 10, management and monitoring. Azure NetApp files can be managed through the Azure portal, PowerShell, or CLI. When you go to the Azure portal and search for Azure NetApp file share, immediately you get the name. When you click on overview, you get to the name of the file share, the path, and the amount of storage, how much of storage is utilized, how much of storage is available, utilized, and how much is free. And you can keep track on the health, performance, and utilization of your file share. Integration. Number 10, Azure NetApp files can be integrated with other Azure services as well, like Azure Kubernetes, Active Directory, and so on. Okay, here we are looking at how it is implemented, how to deploy. Number 1, you need a Azure subscription account. Okay. Number 2, start by creating, once you search for Azure NetApp files on the search bar, and you click on create a resource, search for Azure NetApp file share, and then you can choose, enter your subscription data, resource group, account name, give an account name, and then select whether you need a standard or premium. You can go for the premium one. Once Azure NetApp file account is created, inside that first you create a capacity pool. So you have on the left side bar, you see a capacity pool. Click on capacity pools and click new capacity pool. Specify the pool name, select the service level, and set the size for the pool. Next, you have to create the volume. On the left hand side, you see the option for volume. Click on volume and click on add volume. Within the capacity pool, you can create one or more NetApp file volumes. In the capacity pool section, select the pool where you want to create the volume. Click add to create a new volume. Provide a name for the volume, set the size, choose the protocol, configure data protection settings, and so on. Okay, so it's very straightforward. And in the under the volume, you also have the option you have to compulsory, it's necessary to select the protocol, what kind of protocol you're going to use, protocol type NFS or SMB. NFS preferred. File path, enter the file path, and volume version, what version of NFS do you want, version 3, version 4, and below you will choose the allowed clients and so on. That is not required here. Networking, you will need to configure networking to ensure Azure NetApp Files is accessible from your Azure resources. Ensure that the Azure virtual network where your resources are located is properly configured and connected to the NetApp file account. Number 6, mounting the volume. After creating the volume, you can mount it on your Azure virtual machines or other Azure services. On your Azure virtual machine, use the appropriate mount command for NFS or SMB to connect to the NetApp Files volume. Last slide, we have performance tuning. With the quality of service settings, under volumes you have quality of service settings, which enables you to fine tune the performance. If you want to fine tune the performance, you can use the quality of service settings. That's number 7. Number 8, data protection. As I shared about this, snapshots. If you want to take snapshot, configure snapshot policies to create point in time snapshot, for example weekly snapshot and daily snapshot, so on. Number 9, monitoring and management. You can use Azure monitoring tools and Azure portal to monitor the health, performance, and utilization of your Azure NetApp File service resources. Right, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure it is enriched you and helped you learn more about Azure NetApp File Share. See you soon in another video. Thank you.